What's going on, everybody? It's Ricky with Video Homicide, and I just came out of the 9:45 showing of Candyman. Me and Kayla went, and I'll say this right off the bat, I love this movie. Before you watch this video, it is going to contain heavy-duty spoilers to the film, plot points, characters, all that kind of stuff. So unless you're a sadomasochist, put the hold on this video, go watch Candyman. Alright, now, assuming that you're watching this and you've watched the movie, don't you think this was like exactly what was needed, like in the horror genre? Like if we're gonna talk remakes and stuff, and you know, like these big fucking event type movies like it's just like horror movies are not the same. But we're in a day and age when there's not only a good looking trailer that shows a lot in this new Halloween Kills, but we get a movie like fucking Candyman. Like, and I hold Candyman near and dear to my heart, okay, because not only was Candyman scary as hell when I was a kid, but it was also released the year I was born. So, you know, movies like Reservoir Dogs, Candyman, I hold those movies like near and dear to my heart because, you know, I was born with them, you know. And I feel like this video is going to go all over the place, all right? But I feel like people my age, so like between 28 and 30 years old, I think we're like the last batch of people taught things like these Candyman urban legends and stuff like that, because there was, like, we weren't 4-year-olds walking around with an iPad. We're like 4 or 5-year-olds walking around. We hear this thing called Candyman in the schoolyard, which is where everyone fucking heard about it. I remember hearing about Bloody Mary before I heard about Candyman. And I remember, like, either my aunt, it was probably my aunt, was like, look, we're going to watch Candyman, and we watched it. And I remember being so fucking horrified, like, throughout the whole thing. And I know Candyman is a little bit of a slow burn type flick, but, man, I'm telling you, I was so scared of that movie. Like, every time it showed Tony Todd, and he had, like, those bees coming out of his mouth, and, like, the hook, and even, like, the trench coat scared the shit out of me for some reason. I just thought it was, like, a very scary ordeal, and not to mention the countless outstanding moments in that movie that just have tattooed themselves onto my brain, like the kid in the bathroom, the fucking the scene in the apartment that takes, you know, I forget the name of the woman, but you know, like the lady that has the little boy that's kidnapped, like that scene in the apartment with the Rottweiler's head cut off. Like, assuming you've seen Candyman, hopefully you fucking have. I'm telling you, if you've not watched Candyman or the new Candyman, watch the first one first and then go see the new one, because this is a direct sequel. Okay, it's well, not like direct, like as in like fucking right after the events of like the fire. No, like this is like, actually Candyman didn't end with the fire, it ended with Helen being like her own like Candyman kind of chick. But anyways, this movie, it's like, holy fuck, man, I feel like this is gonna be a long video. I don't know if the term is like socio-political or you know, it ties into, I think that is the word, socio-political, where you have a situation like, i.e. slavery and all the atrocities that happened from, you know, the beginning of when the fucking first slave ships came over here up until now. Like, shit is still happening, right? And you're fucking stupid if you say otherwise, in my opinion. But we turn it up by 11 because I feel like now it's so out in the open, and it's such a talked about topic, which it should be, of like police brutality against black people, and you know, just twisting of stories and enhancing or fabricating these fucking things, and just making innocent people get either put away or turned into a fucking social pariah for life, you know. And the original Candyman, like, I know that it stirred up a lot of stuff, you know, people talking and shit like that, but this one is so fucking, like, it came out at the perfect time, I think. Like, this movie it was made in, I think it was shot in like 2019. So we're talking like a couple years, like before, you know what is happening. And it's like, now it's like so effective. And I just found myself sitting there going like, wow, this movie is so great. Like, I said to my girlfriend, I said, like, mid-movie, I like looked, I just like stopped, like I snapped out of the film for a second, and then I was like, this is amazing, and then right back into the film, because we got so much backstory, and, you know, like, these cool flashback sequences. Let me get into the film, okay, before, like, I've already talked for almost 5 minutes here. All right, so the movie, it starts off with this little boy who's and it takes place in 1970s. So you're in Cabrini Green, 1970s. It has this little boy that has to go and do laundry for his mom. And before I forget to mention this movie has a few funny moments, but they're inserted perfectly. They don't take you away. Like later on in the film, there's a scene where, you know, I can't believe I forget her name already, but the main dude's, I don't even remember his name. Anthony. Okay, so Anthony is the main guy in this new Candyman. So his girlfriend is walking to this, like, she's looking for something, and she opens a door, and it goes down like a spooky hallway, and she's like, no. And like it got a bit of a chuckle in the audience, and like even I kind of like chuckled, but it wasn't like these fucking new movies that where it just takes you out of the picture for a minute, and you're like, oh, that was such a stupid fucking little laugh moment. Like, no, like this movie implants them perfectly. So anyways, this kid is he's sent to go do laundry, and at the time there's this man who's being he's being like ostracized and stuff because he's known for giving out candy to kids. He's like, I wouldn't say he's like slow, but he's got like, maybe he was a Vietnam veteran, you know. You don't really get his backstory on this Candyman guy. I think his name was Sherman. So this guy Sherman's giving out candy to kids, and then one day some kid gets a razor blade in his candy and it cuts his mouth or some shit, and the cops are looking for Sherman. And then at the same time Sherman's being wanted by the police, the little boy being sent to do laundry goes down to the laundry room, and then almost like in the same fashion as the 92 Candyman, you have like the hole in the wall minus the awesome fucking mural, and Sherman, like almost like a lanky tall motherfucker, comes out of this hole and like presents the kid candy, and the kid screams, and the police out front end up running down in there and killing Sherman. Like they beat him to death, right? I almost forgot to mention how much I loved the way that Sherman, the Candyman, like looked in this film. I loved the beige, like long jacket, like totally 70s jacket with like his hook. Like I just thought he looked so fucking good, man. And it's revealed later that he wasn't trying to harm the kid. He was just trying to give him candy. And it's not like he doesn't have like a hook hand. He has almost like, you know, like a prosthetic hand that like a person that was an amputee would have on their hand. Not sure what the proper term is, but you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, he's killed, and then that's like your opening to the film. And like I could be a little bit wrong on that. Like it might be fully explained throughout the film, but that's the gist of the beginning of the movie, and then it flash forwards into modern time, where we have Anthony, and we have his wife or girlfriend, and the girlfriend's brother and her boyfriend come over, and like that's about the extent of like the funny shit you get in the film. Like the brother is gay, and he's very flamboyant, so he has like some funny shit he says throughout. But it's the brother, this gay dude, that tells the story of Candyman, like the original Candyman, but he's telling the story like Candyman wasn't even a part of it, like it was all Helen. And like the backstory is told through these like cardboard cutouts, and it's so fucking like I was so like intrigued by it the whole time, and I was like, dude, like I hope we get a lot of these cardboard cutouts, and we do, okay, and I'll get to that later. So the story's exposed, and now Anthony, who is a painter, and he's semi-struggling right now, you know, and his girlfriend works at this art gallery, helping sell paintings and get new artists and stuff like that. So he's kind of got a good in right there, and she's connected to some people. So anyways, he's a bit struggling, and then once he hears about this story about Helen and Cabrini Green and all that, he starts Googling it, and then he goes to what was left of Cabrini Green, and he looks around and takes photos, and there's like an amazing fucking mural. Not so much a mural, but just like a character on the wall, and it's like it's that version of Candyman, and it's kind of like almost abstractish, not totally abstract in like a, you know, fucking shapes situation, but it had its abstract things to it, okay? And he's taking photos of it, and then he eventually does the Candyman chant, and he slowly, or also he, excuse me, I'm all over the fucking place. He gets bit by this bee, right? And it starts to, like, over the course of the film, like, his arms, like, almost, it doesn't look like a honeycomb, like, from a fucking, you know, like a bumblebee honeycomb, but it looks like kind of like honeycombish, if that makes sense. So that happens throughout the film, but so he gets stung with the bee on Cabrini Green, and now he's all very inspired because he's seeing like these visions and stuff like that of Candyman, and he starts painting like these paintings, and then they're not like, I wouldn't say they're that great. Like there's some amazing art in this film, but that first kind of one he does with like all the hands like over the dude laying there, like I thought it was okay, but I was expecting like more crazy shit that we got later on in the film in art, in terms of art, because like this movie connected with me so much right now because I'm doing like all these paintings and drawing a lot and shit, so it like I really connected with the Anthony character, other than me being a white guy, but like I connected with like he's painting and he's uninspired and shit at times, and now he's like found something he wants to do, and like it was almost intoxicating. I really liked all of that. So now that he's very inspired and he paints this painting and he gets it sent to the art gallery, even though the art gallery guy was like, this isn't a great painting, but he does like this display where it's like almost like a modern art thing where there's like a mirror on the wall, and then if you open the medicine cabinet of the mirror, it like looks down kind of bit of a hallway, and then like there's the paintings with like either blue or red lights on either side, and it looks cool and stuff. And he's kind of like blatantly made fun of by these like yuppie types in this art gallery, and he starts to get pissed up. He has a couple of beers, and he kind of causes a scene at this art gallery with the wife's boss essentially, and the boss is like little fucking like whore, I guess you would call her, because like Anthony makes this like kind of offhanded comment like, like you just want to fuck these girls or something, like your assistants or interns or whatever. What he assumed was exactly what was happening, because now it's after the art show. Anthony was booted out long ago, and it's just the art dealer and this girl, the whore, and he's kind of like, oh, let's get the fuck out of here and let's go bang. She's like, let's do it here, and they start to kind of initiate a little bit, and he already kind of warned the chick not to do the Candyman thing, just because he was like overhearing about it or some shit, and she does it anyway, like in Anthony's art piece, and they're both killed by Candyman, and it's pretty brutal, and I liked it because there's kind of a bit of a funny moment where the art dealer's like the chick gets killed first, and he's like, is this real? Is this real? Like, because being an art dealer or like someone in the art world, like you could be fooled, it was almost like Scary Movie when the chick is saying, Greg, behind you, like the killer and all that stuff, and everyone's like, wow, she's fantastic, like all that stuff. That's kind of the vibe that you get. But sure enough, he gets his ass killed as well, and it's Anthony's girlfriend that finds the bodies, and now Anthony's name's got a bit of a buzz around it, like these people, like the display that he made was called Say My Name, and so the media is mentioning his name. He's starting to like get a bit of a rise from that, and even now this one art critic that happened to be at the show that kind of gave him an offhanded remark, she's even like, oh, like come over, and she's like kind of trying to direct him a path, you know what I mean? Because this movie's very about like controlling like minorities and stuff. Like it's you could think about it in many different ways, but I'm thinking of it in like the story horror aspect, not so much like the real stuff, you know what I mean? So he goes to see this woman, and of course she's fucking murdered, because it's a horror film, right? Like a lot of people get murdered in this movie, and the way that it's presented and the way that he slowly sort of realizes or comes to realize that like he's seeing Candyman in the mirror, but it's himself. Like it's himself, like the reflection of him is Candyman, but it's not like killing him, it's just like it's there. So he's like, to me it's all about like sort of like this mental breakdown, really, because he's such a he's a creative dude, and like he looks like the last kind of person. Like I relate to myself, like like we wouldn't believe like any kind of shit like that, but like for him to go to this place and take photos of the graffiti and like the area, like I feel like that's something that I might do. Maybe not take photos, but go and walk around and get the vibe, and then you could probably put the pen to the paper or the brush to the canvas. But I like that it's kind of like it's not told in the way that like it's a remake. It's told in the way of like a sequel, like 25, 30, 28 years later, 29 almost. But Anthony he starts creating these paintings, because like for some reason this is kind of one of the only things that I thought was crazy. Like all these people are getting murdered that were like directly like recently interacting with Anthony. Like he's not getting arrested like anytime soon. Like there's this buzz around him, but it's not like the cops are out looking for him. Like like at the end there's cops that are like, we've been looking for him, and it's like, dude, like, well, you didn't do a good job, because he's like freely walking around the city and stuff. But he has like he has a few interactions with yuppie types with his wife. I almost also forgot one of the most important plot points of this film. When Anthony is at Cabrini Green and he's snooping around, he gets not busted, but he gets like confronted, or like some dude kind of comes along and he's like, hey, like, what the hell's going on? And him and Anthony, like, they kind of end up bonding, and the guy happens to own this laundromat. It's called Burke Laundromat, and Burke sort of lays down the story about Candyman to Anthony, and again, it's told in that like really cool paper cutout animation. Not even animation, it's just like a paper cutout that someone has like attached to a stick, and they move it, and there's like multiple moving parts in some cases. But I really like that character Burke as well. I liked him right from the get-go. But he turns into a bit of a fuckhead at the end, which kind of made me mad in a way, but we'll get to that. So now that Anthony is like I said, like rejuvenated and start like going crazy, painting all these paintings, and at the same time having these hallucinations of him seeing himself as Candyman. There's this little bit of a sub scene where this girl that's been, she was at the art show, and she's like this high school student, and her and her friends are in the bathroom, and she's like, have you heard of this Candyman thing? None of them had, so they all do it. One of the girls like runs out, and then this other girl walks in, and they all start picking on her and stuff. And it's important to mention that it's a black girl being picked on by like 4 white chicks, because it goes to it's going with the flow of the story and like the whole vibe that it's giving. And I really like that scene. There's some cool kills in that. Anthony, he goes to the library at this college, and he ends up like getting like some case files, if you will, or stuff that was left over from Helen Lyle, of course played by Virginia Madsen in the first film, and like the tape recorder and like bunch of files and stuff, and he's listening to it. And I think it might actually be Virginia Madsen, to be honest with you, but he gets some more information like that way, and he ends up in this elevator. Of course it's covered in fucking mirrors, and he has like a really like this is a good example, like he's in the elevator, and then the elevator fucks up. He sees the Candyman. Like, he looks up at the mirror on the roof. It's his reflection. He sees Candyman, and he like ducks down, and then the door's open, and there's like a bunch of kids there, and like they're kind of like, what's this guy doing? He just like grabs his stuff and like walks out. That was like a moment where it was like, it was funny, but it was like appropriate to like the genre. You know what I mean? It wasn't pushing it over the edge, making it like, oh, like, look at what an asshole. You know what I mean? Like, the kids were just like, what the fuck? And he just like played it off like cool. He was just like grabbed his stuff and just like walked out like calmly. One thing I will say, I wasn't a big fan of his like Adabisi-ish hat. Okay, and if you don't know what Adabisi is or who Adabisi is, look up the show Oz. There's a character that wore like this little tiny toque on the top of his head. It was fucking hilarious. But I really liked how he went and got the tape recorder and that. But it's right around this time we find out that Burke, the laundromat guy, was also the kid from the beginning of the movie that screamed when like Sherman came up and approached him. He's Burke, and we find out that Anthony, who keeps like, his girlfriend keeps telling him like, oh, you got to call your mother, you got to visit your mother, you got to call your mother. And when he finally goes to the mother, and I couldn't believe it because this was in the trailer, the same actress that plays the mom of the little boy that had the Rottweiler, like, she reprises her role in this film as the same character, the mother, and Anthony is the little boy that was, taken by Helen and Candyman way back in '92. So, like, I loved that. I thought that was so cool, because I remember when I seen the trailer, I was like, fuck, where do I know her from? I know that lady. And sure as shit, I was like, yes, dude, this movie is fucking awesome. So, the movie kind of ends. I'm definitely gonna have to watch this flick again, because it kind of ends not suddenly, but it has like this third act, like the climax in the third act has Anthony, who's like, his body is like completely fucked, like at this point, like all the way up his arm up to his neck. It's like this honeycomb shit, And during all this madness, the wife, she's like, I gotta get out of here because Anthony was acting really fucking insane. She comes up and sees that he's painting these very like sadistic and like twisted versions of these different people out of actual history, which I thought was cool. And he's like, don't look at my paintings, and she's like, you're crazy. This like you're not, like, Candyman is not real. And she starts saying Candyman into the mirror, and he like goes nuts and throws the fucking mirrors, and they're smashing all over the place. And she's like, I'm leaving. I'm getting the fuck out of here. And she ends up going to stay with her brother and the brother's boyfriend, and they kind of like bullshit back and forth. And it's when her and her brother go back to the apartment to collect her things. It's her like writing, like she's got a list of people that, because she can't find him. She can't find Anthony right now because he's out in a fucking Candyman trance. She starts writing down all of his buddies, calling them, can't find them, or can't find him. And she realizes that she's writing with this pen that Anthony took from Burke's laundromat way back in the beginning of the film, because he's like, can I take notes? So that's the reason why this pen would reprise or be brought back into the film, which I thought was excellent. And that was a good way for her to, like, because I was really thinking, like, what the fuck's gonna happen at that point? And sure enough, the pen goes to the laundromat, and then she's like, this is where the movie gets a little kind of crazy in a way, because the kid, or excuse me, Burke, the laundromat guy, who was the kid from the beginning of the film, it's revealed that his two sisters did the Candyman thing in their bathroom, and they died, and he's seen Candyman through the window, so he knew that, like, Candyman was like a real thing and all this stuff. And he's got Anthony like shackled up, or not shackled up, but sort of so he's got the wife shackled up to a pew in this old church, and she ends up getting free with like the aid of the pen so it's like that pen really fucked that Burke guy over in a way. But Anthony's almost like seems doped up, so this Burke guy cuts his hand off, and he's like, we gotta recreate, like the baby came back to this very spot, and it's kind of like goes into this real like deep sort of like Candyman mythos. Like, I definitely gotta watch this flick again. Like, the girlfriend, she breaks free, gets out of there. Candyman is like basically fucking like out to lunch at this point. And as the girlfriend escapes, Burke chases her down, and she ends up killing him with the pen. And then Candyman, Anthony, comes walking out, and he's got like the trench coat on. He's got the thing because Burke dressed him that way. And the cops come in, and they just blast Anthony, who's like laying in his girlfriend's arms at this point, because he's like definitely dead or dying. And now the cops have arrived, and they take the girlfriend into custody. And then we get like this really asshole-ish fucking moment with the cop like being very just like a dirty motherfucker to her, like trying to like twist her words or say like, what are you gonna say? Are you gonna say like you were being attacked, or are you gonna say you were the accomplice? And she's like, well, I'll tell you my story if you let me look at myself in the mirror. And he's like, what? And he eventually does, and then she says Candyman 5 times. And Candyman, like, all of his partners that are inside of this little house, like this little kind of townhouse that this was happening at. It was like weird because these townhouses were attached to a church in a way, which kind of like had me going, what the fuck's going on? But as soon as she says Candyman 5 times, the cops in the house start discharging their guns. They're like freaking out, and it's Candyman. He comes out of the apartment and just tears all these cops to shreds, and it's awesome. And he lets his girlfriend leave, and then the film basically ends right there with an amazing little kind of computer-generated cameo of Tony Todd, which I thought was really cool. It was definitely his voice, or if it wasn't his voice, it was a fucking damn fine either recording or voice actor. So I also forgot to mention in the original recording that I loved the end credits, because they tell these stories of things that that happen in the film, things that happen in real life, and it's all told in the aspect or in the presentation of that weird sort of cutout paper thing. I loved it. Okay, now that I've explained the whole goddamn movie, I'm so hyped because I just watched it, so it's like fresh in my mind, and I thought it was so good. And one thing I loved about the movie that I didn't mention there in the little review was when, like, we have all these different variants of Candyman in this film, like all these people that have been like wrongfully murdered by police and stuff, like all these different stories, like the Daniel Robidoux story from the original Candyman is mentioned in this. We got like these other people throughout history that were, like I said, wrongfully killed. I'm blanking out on the names. I think one of them might have been George Bell, or a person with the last name Bell. And I thought that was really cool that Candyman is not like this one person. It's like all these like things. Like this movie definitely has a way deeper meaning, and I couldn't even begin to explain it. But I just had a really good time with it, and I hope that everyone that watches it has a good time with it as well. And 666 in the comments if you watched all the way through. And with that being said, have a great night and adios. Don't say it 5 times, say it fucking 20.